In the beginning, America had stronger economic ties with the Allied nations than with the Central nations. America was well in favor of the Allied nations in the earliest stages of war. These economic ties were strong because the United States and her allies had many things in common, culturally, economically, and diplomatically. One of the strongest economic ties America had was with England, because they shared a common ancestry since most of the people came from England themselves. Because of the strong ties with England, the United States secretly supplied English military materials in hope of ending World War I quickly. But because America favored the Allied nations more to tip the balance of power against Germany, it made neutrality simply impossible. The desire to tip the balance of power caused President Wilson to make decisions that intensified America's economic involvement with the Allies. As American economic commitment to the Allies continues to grow, America soon became bound with the Allies in an assured union of war and prosperity, thus contributing to the American involvement in World War I. Germany's unrestricted submarine warfare policy began in 1917 when the Germans intensified the submarine warfare shortly after the war began. Because of the British naval blockade, it caused drastic food shortages in Germany. Thus a desperate strike back was made. The decision was that Germany established its own naval blockade around Britain, and by January of 1917, the Germans announced the unrestricted submarine warfare. This policy allowed the Germans to use their submarines to sink any ship without warning in the waters around Britain. But this wasn't the first time the Germans tried this policy. On May 7, 1915, a German submarine sank Lusitania, a British passenger ship. The result of this attack left 1,198 people dead, including 128 United States citizens. This upset the American public greatly. In effect, President Woodrow Wilson took action by sending a strong protest to Germany. This became known as the Sussex Pledge. In order to break U.S. ties with Germany, President Wilson used diplomatic pressure as they were negotiating the terms. One was inviting other neutrals to join and show Germany how world opinion disapproves of his actions. He also wanted to point out the immensity of dangers. His efforts to help Germany realize the stakes with which they were gambling didn't have any effect because Germany refused to give in. Soon after, the unrestricted submarine warfare surfaced again. The Germans were well aware that using this policy might lead to war with the United States, but continued to push their luck. Neglecting the warnings given by President Wilson, the German submarines sank 3 American ships. As a result, this motivated the U.S. closer to the war. The Zimmermann telegram was discovered by the British when they intercepted the message from Germany's Foreign Secretary Arthur Zimmermann. This action Germany took provoked the U.S. and was evidence that Germany had anticipated war. According to the message, Arthur Zimmermann said Germany was willing to assist Mexico in the process of taking back the land controlled by the United States, if and only if Mexico would agree to become allies with Germany. Realizing that the Zimmermann note had gone far past the borders of U.S., President Wilson took action. On April 2, 1917, the Congress gave President Wilson permission to declare war, and finally, the United States entered World War I, fighting alongside the Allies.